Hi, Julia Watts here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're going to look at another background today, and I've called this one the Pattern Grid background. I'm still working with Andy Skinner's watercolour sketches collection, and this stamp is called Nowhere to Go But Up. And you can see here on this one, I've got lots of different patterns within the grid at the back. And the colour I've used is Speckled Egg on this one. We're going to use a different colour. So let's just show you what I'm going to be using. So I am using Andy Skinner's Nowhere to Go But Up stamp from the Watercolour Sketches collection, and this technique will work with lots of different stamps, including all the rest of the collection, and you will find everything I'm using over on my website juliawattscrafts.co.uk. We're also going to be using old paper instead of Speckled Egg. This is Distress ink because it goes over the images nicely, and because it's transparent and you can still see the image underneath. And we're going to be using 3 stencils from Woodware. This one is the Organic. This one is Mezzo. I'm also going to be using Abstract Grid. Now, Abstract Grid is currently out of stock at Creative Expressions, and I have asked to see if they'll get some more in. I know lots of you bought it when it came out, so you can use that. Also, if it's not available, you can probably get away with using the new postage frame stencil that's just come out as part of Francoise's Mon Jardin Part 2. So I have used this. It is still dirty, but let's crack on and let's do our background. So I've gone ahead and onto Sentimental Yours watercolour cardstock, the Super Smooth. I've stamped the Nowhere to Go But Up stamp image, and it's on an A6 piece of card. I haven't trimmed it. When I did this one, I trimmed it already, but it's harder to get the grid straight if you do this, so I suggest you trim it afterwards. And don't do what I did earlier. Put it on like this, and then it will cover the A6 image. Don't, unless you want a blank bar here, don't put it that way, put it this way. So we're going to just secure that with some low tack tape. This is the Scotch one. I tend to buy these from Amazon because it's just as cheap. Okay, fold it over, and then it's anchored. So we've got it nice and straight now, hopefully. Yes, it looks straight to me. And then we're going to start inking. So using old paper, which is not a colour I usually use, but it's nice to use different colours. I love the Speckled Egg, but I thought we'd do something slightly different. So we're just going to ink inside. I'm not going to go all over the little boy's face, so that when I come to colour it in with my watercolour blending brush pens, he still has a skin toned face. It doesn't matter if they're a bit grubby, but you don't want him to go green like an alien. And on the balloon, doesn't really matter because the watercolour blending brush pens do go over the ink quite nicely. Just going around the balloon. And you will get different shades within the grid, and where it touches the edge you'll find it's a little bit darker. Let's just have a little bit just back there. Obviously, because you can see through the stencil, you can position it exactly where you want it. Like I say, it's a good idea not to have that bar, because otherwise you've got areas here that you can't stencil. I'm very impatient when I do this. You can use your sponges as well. I do find the brush is nice to use though, especially when we're doing the pattern stenciling, because it tends to go and pick up all the stencil. Now I've stamped with Nocturne Versifying Clair, and I did actually stamp a couple of days ago because I tend to batch stamp when I've got my rubber stamps in my platform, especially when I'm thinking about techniques for backgrounds. So the ink is really dry, so be wary of that. If you're stamping and then wanting to add ink, I'd suggest you put your heat tool on it so it doesn't move. So let's go for our pattern stencils now. So let's grab this one, and I think what we'll do is we will go into this section here. Oh, with my ink. Don't know why I've got the lid on there. Obviously you can go a different colour if you want to. Don't have to use the same one. So this is Mezzo. And you will find that you could actually have this so that it's turned over, and so you'd have these sections at the top instead. So, you know, that you will get a variation. So that's that one. Let's have this one down here, I think. I'm trying to do it similar to before, but it's going to be different because I think my squares are in a different position. So we've got that one there, and let's have this one in this section here. Like that. And let's go for the other stencil, which is the organic. I think we'll have, let's have this one here. These stencils are perfect. There's quite a few of Francoise's stencils which have got different sections on them, and it's just perfect for this sort of work. Let's have a flower in, let's have a flower there. Oh no, let's go for this one. I'll put this across a few of them. So the brushes go down into the gaps. So we've got that there. Obviously some areas are going to be darker than others. I'm going to go for this one here. And we go for one of these flowers here, I think. Doesn't matter if it kind of overlaps or merges with some of the other patterns. Have we got something? We've got something in most areas. Let's go, what haven't we used? Let's have another flower here actually. Or let's go for the other one. Let's have a little bit of this one down here. In that gap. Like that. And we'll have let's have a little bit of this one up here. I'm going to go over the balloon because it'll get coloured in on top anyway. So we can get some pattern around it. I think that's all the sections done. And then we do our reveal. Try not to put my fingerprints all over it. And then obviously trim it down, colour it in, and you've got a really cool background. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Hope it's useful, and think about all the other stamps that you can do this technique with. As I said, you'll find everything over on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk. And do like and subscribe. There are lots and lots of videos on my YouTube channel, including a recent background showing you how to do this faded wood grain technique. And I love to read your comments, and thank you for watching.